Yeah, thank you everyone for always giving me your audience and the feedbacks that you guys have always sent to me each time I have a little talk like this. I really appreciate it, and that really helps us to be better. So today I want us to talk about selling skills. Why selling skills? I think that selling skills is one of the most important yet one of the most underlooked skills currently in almost every community. We look at selling and selling skills to be kind of like skill for those who do not have quite a lot to offer, in our society, and so they navigate towards selling and they're trying to talk us into buying things and stuff like that. But I think that if we face the facts, we are going to realize that that notion is actually wrong. I think that selling is the backbone of every organization, the backbone of every nation and every community. I think behind every paycheck that you get is a sale. You might be working for Walmart, for example, as an accountant, or working for Walmart as an HR person, or any other role that does not directly interact with customers to sell something to them. But I would attest to you that every paycheck, every salary that you get, behind that salary is a sale. You are only getting paid because someone has sold something that Walmart offers. If there is no sale, you would not have a paycheck, you would not have a salary. So if taking a company like Walmart, if their sales are increasing month after month, year after year, what's going to happen? Walmart will be like, hey, we have a lot of customers now, and they're going to open more and more locations, around the country. And when they open these locations, what happens? Then they become more employment because they need to hire maybe a store manager, hire cashiers, and everybody who needs to make that store operational. On the other hand, if the sales of Walmart begins to go down month after month, year after year, what's going to happen? Walmart will begin to be like, we don't think we are making enough sale to be able to keep all our locations up and running. The bills are too much. The sale that we are making is not enough. We're paying too much for salary, but we're not making enough sale. What would they begin to do? They would start closing down those locations. As they're closing down locations, what's happening? They begin to let go of employees. You begin to lose your job. You begin to stay without the paycheck anymore, right? Why? Because sales was going down, right? So you see that sales is the backbone of a lot of things, right? And even a nation's economy is judged based on what they call GDP, which stands for Gross Domestic Product. And what is Gross Domestic Product? Gross Domestic Product is nothing but the totality of what a country or a nation produces and sells in a year, in a quarter, or in a given point in time, a given time period. So you see that even nations have a great need for selling skills to be able to market out the things that they produce as a nation, because that's what holds, their economy. So with these two analogy, you see how important sales or the skill of selling is in every community, in every nation, in every organization. But what beats me so badly is with how important selling skills is, I wonder why it's not regarded as much as it should be regarded. I come from a country where most of us are trained to have a job. We are trained to go get a job and go work a job. Quote unquote, they always use the statement white collar job. We are trained to come out and go work for a bank and be a banker, or go work as an administrator in the government. And so what happens is that our education system gets to release out a lot of dependent graduates. We release a lot of dependent graduates as opposed to independent graduates. Dependent from what perspective? We graduate from school with lots of skills in us, but we are graduated to go sit and wait for the government to employ us. We are graduated to go sit and wait for some organization or someone else who is running a business to employ us. So we are graduated to become dependent graduates. You get it? And consequently, what happens? Unemployment rate continues to go up because every year more graduates are released outside who are dependent, and so we get unemployment rate keep going on up and up. So, but I think that One of the reasons because selling or selling skills is not factored in our education system. And I believe that if selling skills were strongly factored in our education systems, most of the statistics are going to be reversed. The amount of unemployment we have, we would not be having that kind of unemployment. I believe that everybody who is walking the streets today has something to offer to the world. It could be you singing. You have a good voice that God has blessed you. That's something you have to offer to the world. It could be playing soccer. That's something you have to offer to the world. You could be a comedian. That's something you have to offer to the world. You could be, even you looking for an employment to interview, that's something you have skills. It's something you're trying to offer to the world. You might be passionate about taking care of little kids, babysitting, cooking. Those are all things that you have to offer to the world. But the question is, how do you sell? How do you effectively sell that thing that you have to offer to the world? How do you sell it? You see, I believe most of us have skills. Let me take for Cameroon, where I come from, an African country. Most of us have skills, like in Cameroon, that needs to be sold to the world. But those skills are only selling in Cameroon or in the country of that person's birth in Africa. But that skill, is a gift, it is something that can be sold to the world. But because of our inability, our lack of knowledge, our lack of expertise on how to sell what we have to offer, it's only sold in our country of origin. And sometimes we claim to cry foul and say, oh no, it's because I'm in Cameroon. If I was out of Cameroon, I will be able to sell better and stuff like that. But let's pause for a second. Let's look at those of us Africans, Cameroonians, who are in the United States, who have immigrated in the United States, who have fallen bush, and we are here. I'll talk more about Cameroon because that's where I come from. Those are the people I know from, most of us. There are most African restaurants around town. Cameroonian restaurants, African restaurants, many different businesses. How many of our businesses in the United States, in the Western world, is able to sell to non-Africans? How many? How many? Most of us Africans here have eaten in African restaurants. And most of us Africans here was eating to non-African restaurants. You've eaten in a Chinese restaurant. You've eaten in an Asian restaurant, right? A Brazilian restaurant, you can name them. When you walk into this restaurant, like an Indian restaurant, for example, you can attest that when you look around the people who are in there, you see non-Indians. You see Brazilians in there. You see Mexicans in there. You see Africans in there. You see Jamaicans in there. You see people from different parts of the world, different origins, different races, eating in there. But when you walk into an African restaurant, how many non-Africans do you see? If you're very fair to yourself, the answer is very few. You rarely even see them. Once in a while, you would see them. What does that tell us? It tells us that it's not a matter of being in Cameroon. It tells us that we have a problem. We don't know how to sell. A Chinese man will succeed everywhere he goes because he was primarily brought up to sell. Now, enough about the problem statement. How can we effectively sell? Now, I don't come with the totality of all the answers and all the strategies that we need to be able to sell effectively. And I'm not coming to you like somebody who has mastered the skill of selling already and is doing very well in it. But I come with you with a few points, a few ideas, a few things that I think that if we start implementing these things, it would take us a long way to be able to sell those rich things that we have as Africans. All those things that we have to offer, it would help us, it would change the curve. So to me, the number one foundation to selling effectively is first of all to have something good to offer. Have something good to offer. In my high school, I did not study sciences and all the biochemistry and all of those further maths. I didn't do that. I didn't study arts. I didn't study things like the history and the philosophy and literature. No, I didn't do that. I studied commercial education. I did subjects like accounting, marketing, finance, and so on and so forth. Those are the kind of subjects that I did. And I remember in one of my marketing classes, they taught us a concept that is called marketing concept. They say this is a concept that is used by corporations, and here's how they use it. Let's say a company is Samsung was trying to make this phone. They have a phone to make. Before they get into the factory to make this phone, they're going to do what they call a market and marketing research. What does that entail? It means we'll be finding answers to a couple of questions. Who are my customers? Where are they? Are they in the US? Are they in Africa? Are they in Europe? What do they want? What kind of phone do my customers want? At what price can my customers purchase the kind of phone they want? At what time of the year are they more apt and more likely to purchase these phones? They find answers to questions like this and even more. And based on the answers to these questions, they would now go and start making the phone. And the thought process is that when they are done with making this phone, given that they made this phone with all these answers in their minds, this phone is going to sell itself. Because they have just simply made exactly what their customers wanted. It would sell itself. So that is the step one, a good strategy that we can implement to have something good to offer. Whatever business you are engaging, whatever skill you have that you're trying to sell, if you can be able to ask these few questions about your customers and stuff like that, I would guarantee that you're going to have a much more successful product. Now, I think the next step is how you present what you have to offer. I think how you present your product is as important as the product that you're trying to sell. By that, I'm talking about packaging. You see, this could be a very fabulous phone, but this phone cannot be sold like this. It has to be packaged in a box. And the box needs to be as attractive as the phone is good. If you have a very powerful and beautiful and good phone and you don't put it in an attractive box, the phone might not sell. Because something has to attract somebody to it before they come and try to take a look at it. And what is that thing to attract? The packaging. And I think that a lot of us are getting it wrong when it comes to this aspect. I'll speak to my community one more time. And I'll go back to the restaurant example. Almost all of you listening to me, you've eaten, fellow Africans, you've eaten in restaurants, foreign restaurants. You've gone into a Chinese, Indian restaurant, Brazilian restaurant. And think about your experience. When you walk into that restaurant, somebody greets you right at the door, a young lady who knows how to speak very good English. It's not about the English point, but just to say a young lady, somebody's going to greet you at the door. Walk you to your table, put the menu in front of you, get you some water to drink, make you comfortable before the food even comes. Presentation. You've been to an African restaurant. Think about it. You walk into the African restaurant. You even get an eye contact with the salesperson when you walk in. And he looks at you and look at him. He cannot even say hi. You have to walk, go find your chair, and sometimes you're the one to shift the plates, dirty plates, to find yourself to sit. Then they bring food to you, they ask you to go wash your hands in the bathroom. Then you walk to the bathroom, it even looks nasty. The same hand you washed it, then you try to touch that same door to get out, and the same hand you wash, don't know what you've touched. There is a presentation problem. I'll be frank to you. There are many times that I've wanted to take my fellow non-African friends to go have lunch or dinner somewhere, and I cannot think of an African restaurant. Not because we don't have good food. We have one of the best food I've ever eaten. But we have a presentation problem. Sometimes people buy what you sell, not necessarily because the thing is good, but because of the presentation of it. From time to time, I take my wife out for a date night. And when I'm going out for a date night, I'm not looking for good food. I'm looking for somewhere that looks nice. When I'm scrolling through my phone and finding where should we go to, I'm looking for nice scenery, beautiful places, right? Not the food. When I go out there, I buy their food. Even if it's not good, I buy their food because of the environment. So they make a sale for their food because of the environment. That's presentation. One of my friends watched my plate one day and he talked to me and said, "Hey man, you chop like that part of Wall Street. When I listened out what he was saying and he explained himself, it's like if you go and see these very rich folks, when they go to eat in the restaurants in the Wall Street, look at their plate. You see like just about 4 vegetables, 2 broccoli, 4 asparagus, and I tell you that is $150,000, $150 that you just spent there. It's not about those vegetables. You could buy them in Kroger yourself, but they're paying for the presentation. Even when it comes to interviewing, you are presenting your skills. I always say it. There are people who can talk their way into a job they cannot do. They can convince an organization they can fly a plane when they cannot fly it. And there are people who can do the job so well, but they cannot pass an interview. Presentation skills. How do you present what you have to offer? That's the second factor, and I think we're failing a lot in that as an African community. The next thing that it ushers me to is about working on yourself. Work on yourself. To effectively sell, you must have to work on yourself. I believe that every sale begins with a salesman. Get that again. Every sale begins with a salesman. I came over to Toridey to have an interview over a training program that I run. For those who don't know, I train for AWS and DevOps. And when I had a conversation with Toridey that I was coming over, he said, so you're going to wear a suit, right, for the interviews? I always like to have a suit. I said, no, I'm not going to dress in a suit. I said, because the career that I'm coming to have an interview on, most of the guys in the interview don't wear suits. They wear suits occasionally for when they're meeting the clients, but for the most part, they're just business casual like you see me right now. So I have to dress like the career, the profession that I'm coming to talk about. Right? That's a presentation. I currently worship for a Western church, for an American church, a non-denominational church. And my pastor said something one time. He said there's a reason why he doesn't dress in a suit and tie to come and preach every day on Sunday, or we rarely see him in attire. He says he has to dress like the people he's trying to reach. That most of the people he's trying to reach, those who are lost and the people who are trying to reach and bring them to Christ, they don't dress in suit. They are everyday people who walk around. Some of them don't even have the money to buy those tuxedos and suits to come to church. So he don't want to give them an impression that when they get saved as they come to the church, they have to be dressing in that same fashion. Again, I'm not saying that that is right or wrong, but it's working for him. The church is growing. It's a church of more than 15,000 persons, right? So, but guess what? He said he's going to dress like the people she's trying to reach, because he doesn't want to put that to be a stumbling block for them to come to church. It works out for him. So, work on yourself. Presentation begins with how you look. The third thing I also want to talk about is know your audience. Know your audience. What do they relate more to? When I was doing marketing in school, they told us about a soap that was purchased, that was made, and the soap was advertised in the United States, and it made a lot of sale. And the advert was that a gentleman bought a soap that he believed was so beautiful, was so nice, and he rushed to the house and shouting, hey, I bought a new soap, and just screaming at his wife and shouting with excitement, came to the bathroom. The wife was taking a shower. He just bumped in, showed the wife the soap. The wife was so happy. She got the soap and she used it, and the advertisement was very successful in the United States. They took the same advertisement to Asia, and the soap did not sell. Same advertisement, same soap. The soap did so badly. Why? Because at the time, in the Asian culture, the thing is disrespectful to walk into a bathroom when your wife is taking a shower, even if it's your wife. It's disrespectful. The problem there was not the soap. The problem was the audience. They did not understand their audience. Who are you selling to? What do they relate to? Jesus Christ explained very powerful principles with parables like the sower. Somebody going to plant corn because he understood his audience. Last 2 things, and then I'm going to cut it off on the strategy. The next one I talk about is work on your numbers. Every professional salesman you see out there, if you ask him that, tell me about your success rate, he's going to tell you something like this, that for every 3 persons I talk to, 1 person makes a purchase. Or for every 5 persons I talk to, 1 person makes a purchase. Or for every 10 persons I talk to, 1 person makes a purchase. Let's say he says for every 5 persons, 1 person makes a purchase. So he understands that for him to make a sale, if he needs to make 25 sales, then he needs to talk to 100 people. You have to constantly put your product out there. Don't be discouraged when you put it out there and you're getting what you want to see. Some people need to see your stuff 2 times to buy. Some need to see it 8 times to buy. Some 5 times, some 10 times. So get your numbers. Sales is a numbers game. The more you put it out there, the more numbers you're going to get. And the last thing I would say is, whenever you're trying to present your stuff to people, if it's so possible, give them a taste of what you offer. Whether it's a comedy, whether it's a singing, let your marketing be baked by giving them a taste of what you offer. You and I have walked into grocery stores, Walmart, Costco, Sam's Club, Kroger, and you pass around a certain aisle and they're giving you a little glass of wine to take a taste and try without convincing you, because they believe that they give you that glass and you taste it and like, oh, this is so nice. You will be able to make a purchase without a salesperson telling you a single word. So the tasting of what they offer was enough sale, was enough marketing for them, because you've tested it. Try to give a little bit of a shot, a little bit of a taste of what you offer to your audience. Now, like I said, this is not a full strategy, but I'll end by saying that selling skill is very important to every single one of our success. All of us have something to offer. Are you a singer? You're selling something. Are you going for an interview? You're selling yourself. Are you making a presentation for a project? You are selling yourself. Selling is just the art of convincing people or persuading people to see your point. Are you a politician? When you are campaigning, you are selling yourself. You're trying to persuade people to see you as the best for the role. We all need the selling skill. I hope this is helpful. Thank you for your audience, and talk to you next time.